Hey!
Break it down. Break it down. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. It's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Happy
Girl,
Saturday.
what
It's
is
gonna be
going
a
on?
show. We say that every week. I swear we say that every week, and it really is a show every week. Because again, the internet. Okay, and again, just so we can clarify for the audience, the internet is where you go to find relevant information that can help you elevate. The internet is where we find all the foolishness. So we be talking about what's going on the internet. And the internet had some stuff for us this week. And so we are ready to talk about, are you wasting your own time? And we're specifically talking to the ladies who tend to waste their time in certain relationships. So we're going to talk about 5 signs that you're wasting your time and a couple of time wasters. But before we go into all of that, happy Saturday, everyone. We are going to, as usual, introduce ourselves in alphabetical order.
Hello, everybody. What is going on? Happy Saturday to you, wherever you are in this world. My name is Garcia. Welcome to Not Yet Typical Girl Talk, where we talk about the foolishness of the internet. Yes, if you don't got those filters up, you're going to get pure foolishness. And we're here to talk all about that. Thank you for joining us. We enjoy your company. If you like the Black perspective, if you love the voice of the Black perspective, then you need to tune in every Saturday with us, 3 p.m. Eastern Time here online and 7 p.m. on Radio Regent Toronto, syndicated through iHeartRadio. Thanks to Radio Regent for giving us this platform. Right? Telly, how are you?
I am doing great. I'm very, very happy. I'm here with my crew. It's a beautiful day. It is, everything is Irie. Hey y'all, it's your girl Telly. I am so happy to be here with my crew. Like the ladies just said, the internet never fails. It's always just giving the gift of foolishness. It makes you want to question humanity. I start questioning humanity now every minute because it's just like, what the flip just happened before my eyes? But you know what? It's all good because we're here to unpack all of this foolishness. And today's show is one to not. Today's show is something else. We're gonna unpack. But Sheba, tell me who is Queen. Tell me who
I'm
is.
the Sheba. They call me Sheba, and it's funny, Telly. I was saying to Rob the other day, I wonder if God's just looking down, like, what the F is wrong with these mother effers? Like, it's almost like he's just gonna bring a flood and just wipe us all out and start over, because the stuff that like we see and the foolishness, it's getting so ridiculous. He's got to be up there like with a scowl, like, yeah, this is what I wanted. I'm gonna start over. Like, where's Noah and Mark? Okay, so that's where we're at. Before we go on, my partner in crime, our male correspondent, is gonna introduce himself. Robbie, 3 times.
3 times. 3 times. Yes, we're consistently going to be Robbie 3 times.
Okay.
And we're working with that.
Robbie,
like that
3 times it is.
Robbie 3 times. It works.
Robbie
So,
3
yeah, let's
times.
get
It works.
Get into the.
So we're going to be,
nutty.
depending on the Robbie 3 times today, to really give, again, he's here for the male perspective. And some of this stuff, like, again, I usually surprise him. He has an idea of what we're talking about, but I usually surprise him so we can get his authentic reaction, and that we always do. So our topic today was inspired by a post that we saw on the Shade Room, as well as a post I saw on Gossip about Diddy's possible new girlfriend. And we realized that Diddy is the poster child for time wasting. But somehow women still flock to this man like white on rice, thinking that they're going to be the one, like they didn't learn from Cassie. So we thought we would talk about, ladies, we are trying to help you. I swear every week we say it. We really want to help you. And so we're going to talk about 5 signs of time wasters. But before we go, we are going to just talk about this very funny post. And listen, sometimes you don't know with the internet whether some of this stuff is true. But, you know, for us, it's true enough that we'll read it, because this post got like millions of views and everybody had an opinion. So this was it. It was like somebody put through a question. And the question was, we dated for 5 years, no kids. He has no job, 0. So this man has no job.
Lord.
I have 2. That is the lady. So again, dating for 5 years, no kids. The man ain't got no job, but the girl, she got 2 jobs. I told him, very important, I told him I wanted to get married or I'm leaving. So he got on bended knee, held my hand, I'm holding Robbie 3X's hand right now, and said, I need a more successful beep by my side. I'm not built for poverty. He's moving out. I love him. Help.
I got some help for you.
What help you got for her, Robbie, 3 times?
Not much. Like, this whole topic is just gonna be. I was thinking either I was gonna not have a lot to say, or I was just gonna take the kids' gloves off and just go have fun with it.
I hope it's to take the kids' glove off. We got a whole
so we're
55
just gonna have
minutes.
fun with it. So the entire theory of time waster, I got a little issue with it because whose time is being wasted?
The person's time. The person's wasting their own time.
Who?
The person who's holding on in the hopes that their situation will change.
Oh, so like, how's Diddy the time waster? He's not wasting his time.
No, but he's a time waster for the women. So again, our question is, are you wasting your own time?
I get it. Okay.
So we're saying by dealing with a man
who
who has shown you,
he just
thank you. Diddy's having the time of his life.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not wasting his time.
But again, so that's what we're asking ladies, are you wasting your own time? Because again, if you know a man is a perpetual serial dater, or again, he had Cassie, that girl, for like 11 years, and did the most, had babies on her, did the most. As a woman, why the other women keep coming thinking I'm gonna be better than Cassie is, who knows? We don't even know. We're trying to figure it out.
Like the Japanese say, ask why 5 times to the root of an issue. Like, do women ask why they want what they want? I'm just curious.
Carcia has an answer.
Listen, everything that Rob just said is literally my Bible. If God said, leave a legacy behind, literally of a written word, what are you going to write? That would be the first thing. Are you moving with intention in whatever you're doing? When this woman who decided to date a man that had no job and was quite comfortable sitting there for 5 years, not having a job, did she ever at one point sit down and say, babe, we need to build a future together? Are you willing to get a job so we can get married? When did she ask that question? Because if she asked it the first year of marriage, the first year of dating, which is when you're supposed to have those conversations, she wouldn't have wasted her time with Mr. Now, oh, you're too poor for me. I have to leave because you need to go get a 3rd job. And if you don't have a 3rd job to take care of me, then I'm leaving.
Do you know how embarrassing that is? That a broke, no job having, sitting on your couch, eating your snacks man looked at you and said, nah, chick, you ain't for me, you ain't got it. I mean, come on, man.
He was like, the jig is up. Like,
she wants a little bit more than I'm willing to offer.
She told him, on FYF, we had a little clip that got a lot of traction about women telling men things and how men tend to feel about it. So that was part of the issue. He was like, oh, okay, so we're in a different space, obviously, because what we've been doing for 5 years is no longer cool. And now you want to make changes. And since you want to make changes, I'm going to just start over and get 5 more years with somebody else.
He's a pro.
And that thing is, it's her fault.
It's her fault.
If you are not figuring out what you want and letting it be known to the person you are with, you are wasting so much energy. And when you want to switch the script, like Rob just said, you want to switch it all up 5 years into the relationship. It's like, girl,
listen,
you didn't know you were being played for 5 years?
Well, that's her problem. Listen, this man has it made. He is a star. He's like, yo, I am living this life. I'm going to ride this idiot gal for as long as I can. She's paying my bills. I'm getting fed. She's pleasing me and pleasuring me. All I gotta do is just be here and be like, yeah, girl, you're the one. You're the one.
Oh, we
Playing
got it.
his 5 years, playing his little Nintendo. He's smart.
And we're laughing because we're not mad at him.
No, he's the smart
when
one.
When you enable someone to treat you a certain way, that's what they're going to do. I've said it on the show over and over again. What do I look like running after Rob? Running after him, trying to say, this is the way, this is how we're going to navigate the ship. I'm the captain.
It's not natural. That's crazy.
It is not natural.
That's insanity.
You have
it's
to
not
leave.
feminine. It is actually a woman just leaning too much into her masculine energy, therefore being actually a turnoff.
That's a woman leaning into being a psycho. You're stalking that man and trying to force him to stay with you. He doesn't want you. He's happy just sitting on your sofa and playing Nintendo and getting fed every night. He don't want you. And the sad part of it is that the ending you read where he's like, I love him. Help.
Yo.
She loves him.
In this world of gender fluidity and stuff like that, if you didn't know who was who going into it and just went off of the commentary, you would think that she was the man and he was the woman.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow.
And she said, woman, you better marry me. And she said, no, I ain't built for this kind of poverty.
Because that's what it sounded to the man. That's what, like, wow, Rob, listen, we talk about it all the time. When a man wants you, you will know. You will absolutely know. You know, we talked about it in FYF, our other show the other day, like, listen, you never have to tell a man or initiate a where are we going conversation with a man who's ready to navigate life with you.
Do you think Beyonce ever had to go to Jay, like, what are we doing here? So what are we?
First of all, do you think I ever went to him and said, what are we doing here? What are we?
No.
She had to throw that in there.
I'm just saying. I'm the Beyonce of this house, okay? You think
walking around with a little tiara on her head,
and doing like the dash. Come on, Rob, let's get information.
Right, Rob, let's get information. No, it's not even a natural thing. So, to help the ladies, we've created 5 signs to let people know when they are wasting their own time. And we're going to go through all 5. Again, this is not a foolproof list, but having the experience we've had on this planet, most of us going into, in our 4th decade, we get it. So we're going to go, and I'm going to start with 5, and we're going to end the show with number 1. And ladies, we really want you to pay attention. Because we read multiple articles plus our own experience, and the articles tell you over and over again. So Black women, because that's what we're here for, please take heed. We're all going to comment, especially Robert over here, so Robbie 3 times, about this. So 5 signs he's just not that into you. Numero 5, he never makes plans with you unless you initiate contact. Ladies, Rob.
I mean, that's like a given. What? That bothers me. Why would you want to stay with someone where if you don't do something, he just sits there and does nothing?
Here's the problem.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah. So here's the problem, right? Women are very emotional, as we know. It's just a part of our makeup. We need that. We need it to do the roles that we need to fulfill. Sometimes we allow the emotions to literally lead everything we do. And we don't stop for a second to actually check in and make sure that the emotions are needed at that specific time, or if we're thinking rationally. And women have a tendency, what I've seen is they will pick up the phone, they will text, they'll be like, what are you doing? Where are you? I miss you. Please, let's go out tonight. We can go to this place for dinner. And they just go.
They vomit.
They vomit.
They throw up on everything. They don't stop.
Exactly. And they believe, oh yeah, he wants me because after I called him 6 times, he called me back and we're going out tomorrow. And it's like, wait a minute, girl.
How many times? You did what?
You did what? Sheba, you have your hand up, girl, so go ahead.
So, you know, again, it was funny because we had a very similar topic, and Rob can speak to it, but we were talking about, hold on. We were talking about the fact that at the end of the day, men don't want to actually hurt women's feelings.
No.
They don't.
Mm-mm.
And I think there's this idea that men are out here like scheming and plotting how to like hurt women. But I have enough male friends. I have a brother. I got Rob. I got people in my life. And I used to have guys call me and say, yo, I'm really not into this chick, but she's just like, she's nice and everything, but we're not clicking. But I don't want to hurt her feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the women were not getting the message. So a guy's way of trying not to hurt your feelings is actually by ghosting.
Yeah. Yep.
That for them is, so if you send him messages and he just stops responding, to him, that signals it's done. Because he doesn't want to necessarily say, and Rob can speak to because he's the man here, not necessarily say, yo, like, I'm just not that into you.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to really hurt you. So he's like, yo, but if I ghost her and I don't respond, then she should get the hint. Robbie, 3 times?
Yeah, pretty much. You guys are right on the pulse of it. I would say definitely accurate about men not wanting to hurt women's feelings. We don't enjoy it. Most men, I would say a high percentage of men, alpha, beta, cheta, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then the second part of it is again, it's that kind of pick me energy. If he'd rather be doing a million different, like if he's always doing other stuff, and the only time he does stuff with you is when you're like, hey, let's do something, that means that he's doing the bare minimum to keep you around. So how do you think somebody who's doing the bare minimum to keep you around is really into you? I was going to wait till we got further in the list, but I'm going to get into it straight now. I said I was going to take the kids' gloves off. We talked about this on FYI.
Mm-hmm.
Women, your power is before you sleep with a man.
Yep.
Ooh, child.
Protect your pom pom.
So you have to figure out, and each guy is individual, and how much time he's going to invest before he gets to that point with you. You have to figure out what you need to know about him before you decide to go down that road with him. Because oftentimes you ladies get confused, and he isn't that into you, but he is into
Your pom pom.
That's it.
you.
And
So he's gonna try to, yeah, he'll do some maintenance, but once it gets to be, hey, after 5 years we need to get married, he's like time to find something new. And that's really, I think all of this, like when y'all be like, oh, it's confusing and all of that, it's not. You're the only one confused in it.
That part.
He's
That
not confused at all.
That part.
Trust me, he's not confused.
His homies all know what it is. Everybody but you. Because you,
right.
I think women convince themselves. There are a lot of women, again, we've talked about it before, a lot of women in relationships with single men.
Yes.
Because they confuse the things that they do and saying, well, unless that man says to you, yo, you're my woman, you are not his woman. Like on some real. Unless he's introducing you as such, unless he's showing you in other ways through his actions, just because he shows up and takes the pom-pom doesn't mean he's in a relationship.
Exactly.
Even if he says, sure, I'll go to dinner with you, I guess. I mean, I was going to play poker with the boys, but sure, whatever. I got time at, 10:30.
You're annoying. You annoyed me all week.
And again, and let's be real, like guys are kind of childish and play semantics and stuff like that. I'm almost willing to bet is like, if you asked him, are you my boyfriend? Well, he'll say, yeah.
Of course.
But he probably like, I have my fingers crossed behind my back or something like that.
It's all about actions. Actions.
Like,
You need
it's not a legitimate. Yeah, it's not a legitimate commitment. A legitimate commitment from a man is one that is unsolicited.
That's
right.
it.
Right.
That was a good one. Y'all in here.
The actions of a man will tell you where he is at. Words are it's very easy to lie. People lie all the time. It's very natural. It comes very natural to humans to lie. So yes, he's going to say, honey, do I look fat in this dress? No, you don't look fat in that dress. He's not going to say, well, yeah, you know, you should change because that dress makes you look
That ain't it.
like Big Shirley.
Not
Like
Jesus.
that.
Big Shirley.
Not Big Shirley.
And to that, I
Yeah.
wanted to get on that. This is gonna sound really bad, but I think Mr. Samuels is kind of getting down that road too. Like men, like some of these women really should be hands off, because that's why they have the attitude that they have, is because dudes are actually having sex with them.
Yeah,
And there really should be no one having sex with them.
exactly.
Like again, like a broke man shouldn't be having a bunch of options as far as who he's laying down with. And a 600-pound woman should not be getting no rhythm.
No.
But not the
only thing she should
rhythm.
be seeing is Dr. Oz from 600 Pound Life. That's what she should be
Dr. No.
seeing. Or Dr. No.
Not the
That's what she
rhythm.
should
Some
be
of
seeing.
y'all is way too nasty to be out in the wild.
So Naturally Fair says, bra better drop them facts.
True enough.
You know what? We have Rock Smack One is requesting to go live. I don't know
Perfect.
if
That's
she
my
still,
sister.
yeah, if she still wants to go live, let us know in the comments, and would love to hear what you have to say.
Sis, if you still want to go live, just say yes, and we'll drop you in. So, but while we're waiting for that, we're gonna go with number 4, babe. We're on 5. Number 4 was, he shows zero interest in your future goals or plans.
I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory.
Again, I know
Yeah,
women though that
I mean,
fall for this all the time. I know of women that will sit there for 2 hours in a date where the guy will talk about, you know, what he's up to, what he's doing, and he's never turned to her and said, so
you?
I met you in the vegan restaurant, are you actually vegan? Oh, that's cool. When did you start that diet? You know, there's no conversation about where you are now and where you're going. Oh, you're the manager at Canadian Tire. That's cool. What do you want to do after that part is done in your career? What else do you want to do? Do you like
because
kids?
that woman
Like,
is not part of their future. They don't see her
right,
in
they
their
don't
future.
see her. You know, all the songwriters, all those like love songs are always about, you know, I saw my future in her eyes. You know, when I looked at her, I could see my unborn children in her eyes. Like, if he's not asking you about it, if he doesn't care about, oh, you go to a book club once a week? What are you reading? If he doesn't care, then girl, he don't care about nothing.
You're not a part of his future.
Because he doesn't like you like that.
He doesn't see you like that. He might see you as a mattress for the night, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. It doesn't go any further than that. They go any further than the mattress, and that's it. That's as far as he sees you.
Right.
It's time to bounce.
Yeah. It's like a lot of females don't understand that their approach from day one put them in a position that they're like seasonal.
Ooh, go on, babe. Talk about seasonal women.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know, we all know, I don't know, the cliche saying about all seasons and lifetimes.
The
And
reason and all that. Yeah.
I think that's one that women use a lot to kind of solve the wounds of getting washed over and ran through and things like that. But hey, I'm saying it is what it is. Like, but it's because you were seasonal, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really make no requirements out the fella. You didn't require no commitment out the fella. You didn't require any investment out of him,
Right.
even of time, even of energy, even of effort, of nothing.
Yeah.
And you put all of this effort in, and then you get burned by it, and you want to carry that forward into the world. Like, I did all of this for this guy, and he didn't care, so I'm not ever going to do any of that stuff for another man again. And we see y'all. We like, nah, that's like, I'm not going to pay for his crimes. Why would I do that? You know, I'm not him, and I'm not going to. That's like me trying to take out things that I went through in my previous relationships out on her. It just doesn't make no sense. Like, so yeah, that bitter energy, like, we see it a mile away. And again, guys will deal with it within certain parameters. Like, but I think we heard Kevin say it. It's like, women, y'all supposed to be pushing for the relationship, because like, we don't care otherwise. Like, there's like, Deion Cole got a joke. He said, never has a man walked into the club like, ooh, look at all these soulmates up in here.
Yeah,
We do
you don't
not
find
think
yourself
like
at a
that.
club.
I've never heard a man.
I've
like
known that since I was a child.
No.
I was told as a child,
We don't
you're not
think
finding your husband in the club. It's like, okay,
So
my
again,
bad.
Yep, you're pushing for the relationship, and I'm defining the parameters of how
That's
that
it.
relationship is going to go.
Well, and it's funny on the planning call, Carcia, talk about kind of for you when you're dating with intention, kind of how you go into that and approach it.
Yeah, so dating with intention is for the person that's not, because a lot of people look at it like this. Oh, if I can catch him, that means I'm successful. And it's like, it's not enough to catch. It's very easy to catch. Put on a nice dress, go sit in the right lounge by yourself, and you will catch. You will catch. But if you want to start dating with intention, you've got to ask questions right off. You've got to ask questions and get yourself into an actual conversation. Meaning, this is not the date where you meet him and both of you hang out in his car all night and you know what? That is not going to solidify, he's going to marry me next year. No, that is not it, girl. You need to ask questions. Oh, I met you here. Yeah, so do you have hobbies? What do you like to do? Oh, that's a part of your job? Oh, that's cool. So how long have you been at that job? That's cool. So tell me, like, have you been married before? Do you have kids or what's that? You start asking questions about his life to see, is this a guy that is looking for a long-term relationship? Is he looking for a wife? You can find this stuff out so you don't waste your time. Because listen, men have a right to serial date.
Well, they do.
Sorry, I know that women out there are like, no,
Oh my God!
but
they have a right.
they have a right
Yeah.
to be. They have a right to be the, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio's and Jamie Foxx's of the world.
Absolutely.
They can date as often as they want, and they can choose to never marry. The problem is that women are tying themselves saying they are with men that are all up on them when it's like, girl, he is just out here having fun.
He's having a good time.
So if you are not here, me, I would not go out with people like Drake or, you know, whatever, because they ain't looking for a wife. I am looking for the long-term relationship. So guess what? I don't have as many just random dates. Everything I do, it's like with intent. It's like if I'm on an app, a dating app, I'm there because I am looking for a full-on real relationship. I'm not there just to be like, hey, all the guys out here ready to hook up. No, no, you gotta also define, girl, what are you out here to do? Are you here to hook up, or are you here to actually begin a relationship that is going to lead to building a future with someone?
And probing questions, right? Like probing questions are important.
Questions.
I think a lot of women are scared to ask questions because they actually don't want the answer to those questions.
No, because you know what happens when you start asking those questions? Because I've had it happen before. They say, you're smart. You're smart. I'm like, yes, I am. I'm asking you all the questions, and you can ask me all the questions back. I'm not saying, you know, but if you're not ready to be that person to do that, then your dating isn't going to lead anywhere.
No.
And I love how you said, like, you know, Uncle Kevin, this is, I call, you know, Godfather Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of women who are like, oh, I'm trying to find a husband. I'm trying to find somebody. Then he asked this girl the other day, how many dates have you been on? She was like, you know, like, I've been on like 3 dates in the last 4 months. He's like, are you actually really looking for someone? Because there's this idea for women. I won't lie. I've had 3 dates in 1 day. Okay. Understand me. None of them were sexual, but for me, I understood how much time I had. And with my schedule and with my work schedule, I would pack those dates in. There is nothing wrong with it. If you are dating with intention, going out on a date once a month is not it. You have to meet all kinds of different people to figure out what you want and what you don't want. So a woman realistically should be at least once a week going on a date, if not multiple times a week. I would say go on a date 3 times a week. Meet people. find out, because a lot of the times they're like, well, that guy isn't just, or this guy isn't just, but you may never know who you're going to meet. So saying that I'm looking for a man, but then the first guy you date that is kind of cute, is kind of tall, is kind of handsome, you attach yourself to him and want to give him all of your time. He's out there dating women like me, who were out there just seeing what was going on while you at home waiting to be taxed. He was having a great time at the restaurant.
Yeah, it's like because again, the barriers to entry is crazy sometimes. You know, it's a lot of weird people out here that be ready to commit after a date or two and stuff like that. And it's like, but I think what I would add to what you said, Garcia, is more that figuring out a man's purpose and his intentions is definitely important, but individualize that. What are your purposes and intentions towards
me? Yep.
That's the only thing that really matters.
Yeah.
And again, like let's take Diddy for instance. Diddy living his life his best life, but the right woman comes along and all of that changes up.
George Clooney.
You know
George Clooney is a great example of syndicated.
Married man, happy father.
Stuff changes up. Those intentions and so what are they towards you? Because a man that sees purpose and intention in you has no problem communicating that towards you. A man that doesn't see purpose or intention to you is gonna be like fishing for words and trying to figure it out, and maybe he might just be straight up enough to be like,
it ain't you,
humpy hump. You know what I mean? Like, just try. You're seasonal, and then that allows you to make your decision based on that.
That's it.
You know, but because the guy can totally be like looking for marriage, be marriage minded, be all of that, and go on a date with you, and you're asking him those questions, and you're getting all of the right reads, but he's not looking at you like that.
Right.
You need to individualize that and make sure what are you saying to me? What are your purposes and intentions towards me? Because again, a man that sees value and purpose in you is going to have no problem communicating that to you. He's going to have ideas about how the two of you are going to be able to form and move towards together, all of that. You know, so it's individual. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, why are you here, bro?
Exactly. And, you know, I was saying to Telly, actually, I said this to her this morning. Oh, but before we do that, resetting the rooms. Thank you, Radio Region, for giving us the platform to create Not Your Typical Girl Talk content. Thank you all for listening to us every week. We love you guys. We appreciate you all. If you ever want, just click on that little camera below there. If you're listening to us on IG, and you know, join us live. We want to hear what you got to say. Again, thanks again to Radio Region, syndicated through iHeartRadio. Yes. So as I was saying, and women, I'm sorry. Sometimes we're gonna get really, we're gonna get on you, and that's just the way this is. But we're doing it in love. So I was saying to Tully, I was like, you know what's funny? When it comes to getting vaccinated, it's my body, I have a right. I'm like, girl, I hear you. You know, the abortion situation going on around the world, you know, the right to a healthy abortion and all of this, you know, people are like, it's my body. I hear you. You're right. But when it comes time to a woman loving their body, when it comes to dating, when it comes to figuring out, like, you're so into what's going into your body until it comes to the man. You're out here with, you're not asking no questions, you're not having no conversation, but you're letting everybody take a ride.
Protect the womb. I can't do it.
I felt that womb.
I didn't think I was going to go far.
Holy Ghost, activated. Holy Ghost, activated.
One of those areas I think feminism has jacked y'all up. My body count and her body count are not the same.
They're not at all.
Okay? She can be furious about it all she wants.
And I ain't.
She can be it's unfair all she wants. It is what it is.
That's it.
It is what it is, because
I'm sorry, just to be more crude for a moment.
Remember, we on the radio.
But it's It's a socket and a plug. So do you think which one is going to have more issues from repeated usage? I would imagine it would be the outlet. So there's more working parts in the outlet. You feel what I'm saying?
That
The
part.
plug is just a plug. It goes in, it goes out. That's it. It's very simple. Okay, let's go.
I think you got
Well, there you go. If that was the only thing you got from today's show, then there it is, right there.
Please take that with you. Take
Exactly.
that with you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Take that with you.
A man shouldn't have to be on the radio telling ladies to protect their womb.
But
I got a daughter, and I tell her that protect
yeah,
your womb.
we
like,
tell the children protect their
that's
womb.
the
Absolutely.
one thing that women have exclusive control over. Who gets the pum pum?
Right.
So why are you just giving it away willy nilly?
So number 3, under 5 signs, he's just not that into you. He has no interest with interacting with or meeting your friends and or family. ...
Well, obviously.
Yeah, that's an obvious one too.
Girl,
I
it's
don't-
obvious, but how many stories do we hear about women dating men where they don't even know where they live?
They don't
That
even know
part.
their postal code.
That part.
Not even the
Well,
intersection. Oh,
Do you know why fellas tend to be like moving that kind of energy though?
Why?
Well, it's easy. Like, while you might be oblivious to the fact that I'm not into you, when we're around other people, your friends and family and loved ones, it's pretty obvious that I'm not that into you.
You're just there because you
So I
want to
don't
be
want to put
nice and you don't
myself
want
in
to be mean.
situations where it's obvious that I'm not that into you. I don't want to come back from your family cookout asking all them questions about, so where are we going? And like, again, how are you asking day 5 questions on day 50?
That
I mean,
part.
5,000, like year 5. How are you asking day 5 questions in year 5?
That whole part.
All of it.
And thinking that you somehow have the same leverage that you had on day 5 on year 5. Like, them videos is stale Cracker Jacks after 5 years.
Honestly,
I'm
okay.
done.
We're really trying to help the people. Here's the thing. I'm also going to add for some ladies, there's a caveat to number 3. There are some men who introduce women, every woman they date, to 1 or 2 particular homeboys.
Oh, yeah.
Them homeboys know that ain't it. Watch out for these signs. They never mention your name.
That part.
Because they don't know it. It's not important. They don't know if you Rebecca, Toshiba, Garcia,
Right.
Telly. It's like, yo, man, like Robbie talking about you, and yo, I'm so glad that I
Yo,
meet
man.
you. But
Yo.
They call
that
him yo,
never
man.
mentioned. That never ever mentioned your name. So again, there are guys who will absolutely put, because again, he wants to shut you up. He knows it's coming, and the pum pum is sweet. So he got to do a little something. So, but there's a designated homeboy.
Yep.
It's not his mama, it's not his
No.
sister, and it's definitely not
No.
his kids if he has any.
No.
It's a designated 1 or 2 homeboy, but watch out for the fact, oh, he never says my name.
Never.
Because he don't care.
He don't
He
care.
doesn't care what your name is. But it's like, oh, so nice to meet you. Robbie talking about you, blah, 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 blah. But never says, nice to meet you, Toshiba. Robbie saying that you're doing XYZ. I heard you guys went to XYZ, because none of that matters. You are just a lump of women that giving out the pom-pom. And so therefore, he's got to keep the pom-pom because the pom-pom's sweet. Because some of us got some sweet pom-pom. They want to hold on to it. But let's be clear. The moment you then bring up, what are we? Can you come to the family picnic? I want you to come to Thanksgiving dinner. But there's going to be a lot of breakups happening in the next week. Because some of y'all start to asking if you coming to Thanksgiving dinner. No, you're not.
you're
For
not.
Christmas, or trying to make New Year's plans and buy New Year's tickets. Oh, no, you're about to be ghosted.
No.
That ain't happening.
No. Don't be asking no man what's our New Year's plans. He should be telling you what your New Year's plans are.
It needs to happen because we know what comes right after Christmas. Valentine's Day. So they're going to make sure that whatever needs to be done, it's going to be done.
Then in New Year's, it's over.
Exactly. This is the season. Winter
This
is
is
coming.
Winter's coming.
Too many holidays. In America, you got Thanksgiving, then you got Christmas, then you got New Year's, then you got, so there's a lot of breakups that are going to be happening within the next week because ain't nobody bringing home the side chick to the mama and grandma, big mama,
The summer,
is about to share her
lover.
mac and cheese with
Yes,
you.
the summer lover that they took on in June.
Seasons change. The seasons change, and so do you, girl. Your season's over. It's time to move on. It's a new season.
That part. Yep. So, because number 2 and 1 are important. So number 2, and we kind of mentioned it before, you don't know where he lives and or he hasn't introduced you to his inner circle. So let's be clear. Number 3 was he has no interest in interacting with your family or friends. Number 2 is you don't know where he lives, which is personal, and or he hasn't introduced you to his inner circle. Okay? You will start knowing his mama, his daddy, his cousins, the homeboy that was really important that he went to school with and he's still, and that's his boy, and that's his best friend. You'll hear them. You know, when Rob and I first got together, I remember when he was in Rochester and his cousin CJ, who's like his brother, we were on a WhatsApp call one time and he turned the phone and he's like, yo, CJ, this is her. Right? Yeah, and CJ was like, right? And again, it was like he was like, yo, oh, this is Canada. He knew exactly, oh yeah, this is the one from, oh my God, I can't believe. And there was a whole thing. And we were in separate countries. Right. And he made it a point because clearly his brother cousin knew exactly who I was. There is a lot of women. We talked about one the other day, 50-something-year-old woman who should know better, who was dating a man for 5 months, had no idea where he was. Come on now, ladies, bro.
Pretty standard stuff. I would say if you're having trouble following these rules, you probably got that pick-me energy that we've been talking about on the show. And you need to work on that. Yep. Just working on that pick-me energy will avoid so many problems for a lot of ladies. But I think that a lot of ladies having a fair assessment of their market value is not something that's favorable, nor is the fact that you can increase your market value through work.
Putting in the work.
That's it. Stop being lazy, ladies.
An adjustable 7, like she puts in that work.
Exactly.
That's it.
You know what I find amazing, when I thought of the whole, the idea of, where are you on the scale? And I was like, you know what? It's so funny. It's like if you are a 5 or 6, you can do things today within 60 days. Because I've seen women decide that I'm going to do this, Carcia, and I've seen them do it. And it's like, girl. Shoot, you are like a 7.5 now. And probably 6 months from now, you're going to be an 8. You can take yourself from 5 to an 8, which, women have decided that they're just going to be lazy and do nothing. They're not figuring out where their guy lives. I'm like, how is it that you know where your friend lives? You know where your acquaintances live.
You know where your enemies live.
Right, you know where your enemies live, but you don't know where your man lives.
Where your man live. Your man.
No, and I would totally agree with that because I know I personally say personality is worth 2 points.
He always says that.
Up or down, up or down. You can take a drop dead gorgeous dime and she's just horrible inside. And it's like, it's hard to, like, in spite of her beauty, it's still hard to be attractive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you can take that 5 and just spruce her up, get her in the gym a little bit, put some effort into her appearance.
Yes.
And not to appear like pick-me energy, but a worthy of being chosen energy. They're very, 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 very different. Like, guys like that. Like, guys don't want to have to try to convince other men why they're with you.
Oh, not that part.
They want it to be evident and
Right.
obvious.
It should be
right. They want to look. And I agree.
All of that.
You want your man to look. You want your man's friends to look at you and be like,
I see why.
I get it.
I see it.
I get it.
Does she have a twin?
I
see it.
It's like, does she have a
Does
sister?
she have a sister?
Yeah.
Does she have a twin? Does she have a hot mom?
Yeah.
A young mom,
Yeah,
exactly.
they start asking about moms.
Yeah. How's the mom? Is the mom single?
Yep.
Because I wouldn't mind. That's how it should be.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Here's a question I asked on our other show on Thursday, and I'm gonna put it out and I'm gonna leave it there because I want women to think about it. We've been in the job market. We've all been in the corporate marketplace. What do you put out when you're trying to find a job? A resume.
Yeah.
And you present your best self on that resume because you want to say, I qualify for the interview. Because that's all you're going to get is the interview.
Right.
And when you get the interview, you get the job.
Right.
I was curious to know if women had to put out why a man should choose them on a resume, what would be on that resume? And let's be clear, ladies, men don't care about your PhD, your master's, your bachelor's, or how much money you make.
They put a bunch of man stuff on it. And what a man puts on his resume is very different from what a woman gets.
Because we do care about his bachelor's,
It's a
his master's,
different role.
and how much money.
You're applying for different roles.
Completely different species. Yeah, that's it.
Mean pineapple upside down cake. I keep the bathroom spotless. I make the bed with military corners. I keep the clothes folded and pressed.
I'd be like, what in the hell?
What is this?
Sounds broke.
I'm like, you know what?
What is this? What?
Sounds like you're not making no money when you're doing all that other shit.
When do you go to work?
When you work.
Yeah.
Because that is a feminine thing. That is a feminine. So again, I think a lot of women have to think about what are the feminine traits, and I'm going to give you the answer. What are the feminine traits that you're going to put that should attract the man you desire and you want? Have you thought about the man that you want? What is he looking for? And again, talking about your master's, your PhD, your bachelorette, right? Like your new business, your bundle business, the fact that you're trying to create generational wealth. He don't care about none of that. We're going to do that together. But that was not what I would put on my resume. Do you bring a man peace? Can he find you invaluable? Do you have the skills to be a mother or take care of the kids that he already has? Like, what are those things that are feminine? So look at feminine traits, ladies. And if you had to present yourself on a resume without a man seeing you visually, if that man put the resume up, would you be on the call her or the reject pile? We're going to go to number one because this one is important.
Very.
Number one, a client, he's just not that into you. He still speaks in I's, not we or us, after a long period of dating. Let's just say it's a year. So again, a man who's just not that into you after a long period of dating, he still speaks in I. So I am going to do this, I'm going to do that, and not we's or us. That is a surefire sign that man is just not that into you.
Well,
agreed.
Pretty standard and basic.
Yeah.
Just in the way he speaks, the syntax of his speech is there's a separation. There's still a big you, there's still a big me, and the we is still
not there.
Nowhere to be seen.
The forefront. And I think that's kind of like when you see a relationship transition, you know what I mean? When the we becomes the forefront and the I and you becomes the background.
That's it.
And an early relationship, the you and I is at the front and the we is in the background. You know what I mean? And if you're not seeing that transition happen with the two of you, then again, that's a pretty clear red flag. It's probably because, again, you're seasonal. There's not a lot of purpose. Right. There's not a lot of intention. He's not really trying to make these long-term, like he's not trying to mix money and mix living spaces and all of those things. Because then it becomes difficult to
break that apart,
to pull that stuff apart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why you should just take your time. And like, again, traditionally it's like, religiously it's, you should get married before you live together. And I understand from a certain perspective where that is, but I don't know if that works in the modern world because of the fact that it's easier to move out than it is to get
get
a
a divorce.
divorce.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I do think that you don't truly know someone
So
until
you
you
live with
have
them.
lived with them for a certain amount of time.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
so like a lot of the traditional aspects of courtship have changed, but a lot of the foundations of traditional relationships are still there. It's just the dynamics are a little bit different. You know,
Mhm.
because it was a different world of our grandparents and our great grandparents. You know, they got married early too. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
And they grew, so they knew that there was going to be growths and trajectories and things that had to be worked out through there. So that the commitment was rooted in the marriage. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I think we're in a different world where the commitment gets rooted in the relationship, and then that grows into everything else from outside of that.
Ooh, you just spoke
Yeah.
a whole word, ladies.
Yeah, so, and yes, what Rob said, yes. And also, I want to say to the ladies that this is why it's so important to make sure, you know, honestly, the only thing I say you should be asking your girlfriends, when you look at me, do you sense feminine?
Mm.
You know, ask them. Ask them. If you have a
Clutch my
brother,
pearl.
if you have a
Yeah.
brother or an uncle, ask them. Do you get a feminine essence from me? Um, and the reason why I say that is a man will start saying we if he's into you and he sees the wife, he sees
Mhm.
the life partner. You know, if he's heterosexual and you're, you know, deep in your masculine energy, he's never going to start saying we. He's never gonna say it because he'll be like, this girl is independent. She don't want nobody. She don't need nobody. And she's just gonna see me as an accessory. And I am more than a handbag. I am a
A-
whole man. So,
Absolutely.
ladies, are you feminine? Because I've met a lot of women, and as soon as I meet them, I'm like, she gonna beat me up? Like, what the hell? Like, she
Beautiful
is
women.
strong.
Beautiful, beautiful. There are some beautiful women out here in these streets with
Yes.
some very
Masculine.
intense masculine energy. They get in a bag. They are just, again, they're trying to behave they're in a lifestyle even of that of a man,
Yeah.
and thinking that when they decide they don't want to be that way anymore, that it
Mhm.
isn't that trail of carnage that you left behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really wild out there. But again, there's some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
women, and that's what I think I wanted to leave with. And the problem is on both sides because some women will never learn to act right because there's always going to be some goofy ass dude that's with the rescue, and he's just going to come swooping in there with his Superman cape on, like that bad man, that bad man, that bad man, and
Mhm.
and he's going to be the one eventually realizing like, oh wow,
This is why they didn't want her.
this is why
Mm-hmm.
that
Exactly.
guy
Mm-hmm.
probably left too. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
saying? Again, if
Twinzing
it's
said big facts.
Yep.
talk like
Very much
I think
so.
that's
Yep.
part of why he was attracted to me in the way is when I started breaking down my previous relationship, there was a certain honesty there that I had to acknowledge that I was not a good husband. You know, that I wasn't always a good boyfriend. You know, that I had to learn that again, I'm very stubborn and I move in a certain energy that is very independent. And you can't be in again, you can't be in that space in a
No,
relationship.
Right.
Not solely.
you have to be
Sorry,
interdependent.
Rob, what's your sign again?
He's
I'm
a
a Taurus.
Taurus.
Yes, okay.
Mm.
Malcolm X was a Taurus. I just
Okay, yes.
learned that. Malcolm
As you
X
were.
was a Taurus.
He
That's
was so
why he was
excited.
getting it done.
He was so excited
Yes,
to
he
learn
was
that
too
Malcolm X
stubborn to
was a
accept
Taurus.
this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, listen, Karcia, and we got a couple minutes, but girl, what you just said hit me like a ton of bricks. It is so important to be able to be in a circle that will be honest with you. And ladies,
Girl.
there is nothing wrong with raising your female children to be in their feminine energy. Listen, when my daughter, she'll come home and she gets excited and she wants to tell me at school and her voice gets elevated, I'm like, bring it down. like nobody wants to hear that. Like it just gets to the, because I'm irked by it. And she'll be like, okay, mommy, and she brings her voice down. And there's a soothingness to a woman's voice that but when I'm like, oh no, that's just too much. And the other day when she told her friends, I don't know what y'all parents are doing, but my mother is grooming me to be a wife. She comes in now excited. She wants to know, mommy, what are we cooking for dinner? How can I help? She's in the kitchen. She wants to learn. And yes, I'm telling her about her education. That is, I'm giving her supplemental education. That's all important. But I think a lot of women are like telling their daughters, go out and get the bag, go out and get the thing, go and that's all great. But when are you teaching them how to be feminine and be young ladies? I'm not raising a boy. And so I'm not going to give the things I raise a boy. I'm raising a young lady to be a young lady. So girl, when you just said, ask the people in your life if I give feminine energy, every woman, we hope that goes viral, because every woman needs to go and turn to their family or somebody in their life today and say, do I give off feminine energy? Because so many would be surprised by the answer.
Girl, like, you know what it's like? You'll watch these shows, we bring up Housewives of whatever it could be, Platonic or any of these shows. And some of the women on those shows are beautiful, as Rob said, gorgeous. But you watch their behavior and you're like, okay, now I see why she's having issues. I see why she can't, stay with a husband or keep a boyfriend, because she is beautiful, but in her beautiful dress and hair, she is projecting like, I am a man and I'm going to come out here and beat all the men up and bite their heads off. And then I'm going to like, tear things apart. I don't agree with anything anyone says, and I'm the boss, and and I'm going to negotiate. And it's like, okay, girl, that's not, no.
I wanted to say something too. Like sometimes it's funny, her and she's being, I call her third world bougie. It's one of the terms. Or it's like, but she grew up in Jamaica in a certain kind of way, right? And it just so happened.
Oh, the domino thing?
Yeah, the domino thing. And she I was like,
so we're at his friend's
house.
house.
Jamaican in the world that don't know how to play dominoes.
So here's the thing. We were at his friend's house, and his friend is dating this young lady, and they were playing dominoes. And he said to me, do you play dominoes? And I'm like, no. And he was like, you're Jamaican. How do you not play dominoes? And I said, the way I was raised, women don't play domino because it's such an aggressive game. Double six. All of those things that are not for little girls to be around. And so growing up, my grandmother and my stepmom weren't trying to put me out there with the men because it was usually a men's sport. Right. And I grew up again in a, parts of my family was kind of a higher class. And my sister will say that, like, domino is such an aggressive thing. So there's certain, I say to him that growing up, it's uncouth, right? It's just an uncouth. And so when I said it to him, he's like, oh my God, I completely now get it.
And it's not to like throw shade on the other young lady, because again, maybe her culture is different, maybe, whatever. But I just thought that was an interesting spin, and it made me think about something from the perspective that, again, bringing it back, men tend to not want their woman to be louder than them. So think about it. If your man is not very loud, you got to take it back even more, because he definitely don't want your bark to be bigger than his. How is that even possible?
That is the black woman's biggest problem.
We are going to wrap up with our final words. I don't know if we got that much to say after that, but final words, about 30 seconds each, ladies, and Robbie free.
So, what I have to say is, women, start evaluating yourself. The first step to solving this problem is becoming aware. Be honest with yourself. Be like, okay, yeah, these are the things I can improve on. If you're dating, if you're seeing someone currently, I hope you made notes of what we said. Start checking out what's going on. Be aware of your environment and what is happening in your dating life, and stop just running about. Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. My takeaway is, like, not only should you ask the questions to your friends and your people you trust, but be okay with the answer. Don't go flying up and getting upset and bringing up your voice higher than Mariah Carey, because you can't understand why your friends are telling you the truth. It's the truth. And they love you, and that's what they're telling you, the truth. So take all that information and better yourself. And please date with intention.
Good
That part.
intention.
If a man's not choosing you, choose yourself and decide to be better so that you will get chosen. And again, I'm going to add my final thoughts. I'm going to ask that question again. If you were to put your best traits on a resume as to why a man would want to choose you for one day to be a wife, what would that be? That's my final word. Robbie, go ahead.
When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, like the old saying used to go. You know what I mean? I think that sometimes y'all out here bad mouthing these men like they doing this, that, and the third to you when you did it to yourself. Because you was assuming stuff, and he never said none of that.
Listen more than you speak.
Love that.
All of that.
Love it.
So, Telly gonna take us out.
I
Thank
am.
you
I want to take us to Naboo. I will take us out to Naboo, but I can't. So with that to say, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, follow us right here on our Instagram account, Not Your Typical Girl Talk. We have a Facebook group. Find us on Facebook or Meta or whatever they call themselves now. Anywho, we're on there. Under the same name, Not Your Typical Girl Talk. We have a YouTube channel. Join us on YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel, and all of our past shows are on there as well. So if you want to go back to the very beginning, go right ahead, go nuts. Look under the name Not Your Typical Girl Talk and listen to our podcast that airs on this is a lot. Radio Region in syndication with iHeartRadio at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Persia. I am Kelly. We got Queen Shiva. We got Robbie Rob times 3. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Until next time, have an awesome weekend, everyone. Bye. Bye.